Fans are in absolute shock tonight as news breaks that Remy Ma has been rushed to the hospital just hours after her husband Papoose humiliated her in front of the world by walking away, straight into the arms of boxing champion Claressa Shields. What started as whispers of infidelity has now exploded into a public betrayal so devastating. It's left one of hip-hop's most iconic women fighting not only for her marriage, but for her health. How did Remy and Papoose's fairy tale love story collapse this badly? And why is Claressa at the center of it all? Stay tuned because this is about to get messy. The hip-hop world woke up to an earthquake that no one saw coming. For years, fans held up Remy Ma and Papoose as the ultimate example of black love, loyalty, and resilience. Through prison bids, industry drama, and the pressures of fame, the two always seemed unshakable. People would point to their marriage as proof that real love still existed in an industry drowning in scandals and betrayals. But all of that came crashing down in the most brutal way possible, when Papoose, yes, the same man who once waited years, while Remy was locked up, stepped out in public and humiliated her in front of the entire world. And if that wasn't enough to shatter her spirit, he did it while openly embracing none other than undefeated boxing champion Claressa Shields. Now, Remy is not only dealing with heartbreak, but she has reportedly been rushed to the hospital after collapsing under the emotional weight of it all. The woman who stood tall against every challenge, every diss track, and every personal battle, now finds herself broken in a way that music or fame could never prepare her for. And the question that everyone is asking tonight is, how did it get this bad? How did Remy and Papoose go from power couple to tabloid disaster, with Claressa Shields, a rising icon in her own right, standing right in the middle of the wreckage? Let's rewind the clock for a second. Remy Ma and Papoose weren't just a couple. They were a story. When Remy was sentenced to prison back in 2008, a lot of people thought her career was finished. The rap game doesn't usually wait around for anyone, especially not a woman. But Papoose shocked the culture by staying by her side through the entire ordeal. He visited her, he spoke about her in interviews, and he defended her name when critics tried to write her off. He even famously tried to marry her while she was still behind bars, showing a level of devotion that had people praising him as the ultimate husband. So for years, the narrative was clear. Remy and Papoose were untouchable. They were the ride-or-die duo that couldn't be shaken by fame, time, or temptation. But behind that picture-perfect image, insiders now say the cracks were forming long before anyone noticed. According to whispers from the industry, Remy and Papoose's marriage was under pressure. Fame had returned to Remy's doorstep after her release. And with it came new opportunities, late nights, industry men, and of course, rumors. Papoose, who had put much of his career on pause to stand by her, was reportedly starting to feel overlooked and underappreciated. And that's when Claressa Shields entered the picture. Claressa isn't just any celebrity. She's a two-time Olympic gold medalist, an undefeated world champion boxer, and someone with the kind of discipline and drive that matches Papoose's own energy. The two reportedly met through mutual friends at a charity event. And what started as casual conversations slowly grew into something much deeper. Sources claim that Papoose admired Claressa's independence, her toughness, and the fact that she wasn't weighed down by the kind of controversies that always seemed to follow Remy. And while no one expected it to turn romantic, fans were quick to notice that Papoose and Claressa were being spotted together more and more often. Still, no one expected him to take things public. That's where the real betrayal hit like a bombshell. This wasn't some secret rumor hidden in the blogs. Papoose stepped out with Claressa, standing shoulder to shoulder at a major boxing event, smiling and acting as though the two were a couple. Cameras flashed, social media lit up, and within hours, the story was everywhere. Papoose had dumped Remy for Claressa Shields. For Remy, the humiliation was unbearable. This was the man she defended in interviews, the man she praised in her music, the man she shared her deepest struggles with. To have him suddenly flip the script and embrace another woman, and not just any woman, but one with a global platform, was like being stabbed in the back in front of the entire world. Friends close to Remy revealed that she was completely blindsided by the move. She had no idea Papoose was planning to go public, and when she saw the images flood her social media, it was like the floor had been ripped from under her. The emotional toll was immediate. Insiders report that Remy locked herself away after the news broke, refusing to answer calls or messages. When she finally did step out, she reportedly fainted, overwhelmed by stress and heartbreak, and had to be rushed to the hospital. Fans everywhere are now praying for her recovery, worried that the woman who once stood tall against an unforgiving industry may have finally been broken by the one person she thought she could trust the most. And let's be clear, this isn't just some messy love triangle. This is a public dismantling of one of hip-hop's most beloved couples. The same fans who once cheered for Remy and Papoose's relationship are now divided, with some saying Papoose deserves happiness if he wasn't being valued, while others are dragging him for betraying the woman who stood by him through everything. The betrayal isn't just personal, it's cultural. Because when Remy and Papoose fell, the idea of loyal love and hip-hop seemed to fall with them. Social media is eating it up, of course. Memes are everywhere. Some are mocking Papoose for leaving a rap legend for a boxer, while others are painting Claressa as the ultimate homewrecker. Meanwhile, Claressa herself has remained mostly silent, only posting cryptic messages about choosing happiness and not apologizing for love. To some fans, those posts were confirmation that she doesn't care about the damage done to Remy. To others, it's proof that she and Papoose have been building something real behind the scenes. But one thing is clear, Remy is the one paying the highest price. Beyond the hospital visit, beyond the humiliation, she now has to deal with the reality that the man she once called her rock has left her side, and the world is watching every single move, every reaction, every rumor. This isn't just heartbreak, it's a public spectacle that's playing out in real time, with millions of fans ready to take sides as the dust settles. One burning question remains: how far will Papoose and Claressa take this? Was this just a public stunt, or is this truly the start of a new relationship? And more importantly, can Remy survive the emotional and public pressure of this betrayal without it completely destroying her career and her health? Because if there's one thing history has shown us, it's that Remy Ma doesn't go down without a fight. But this time, the fight isn't on the mic or in the industry. This time, it's a battle for her peace, her dignity, and her future. When news broke that Remy Ma had been hospitalized, the hip-hop community stopped in its tracks. For years, Remy had been known as one of the toughest rappers in the game, a woman who battled everyone from industry giants to personal demons and came out swinging. But this time was different. This wasn't about music. This wasn't about beef. This was about love, betrayal, and the kind of heartbreak that no one, not even Remy Ma, could fight her way through. Eyewitnesses say that Remy collapsed after days of isolation, refusing to eat and breaking down repeatedly as images of Papoose and Claressa Shields dominated social media. Sources close to her revealed that she was completely inconsolable, unable to believe that the man who had once promised to love her unconditionally could so quickly and so brutally walk away. Hospital staff have not released official details, but insiders claim Remy was admitted for severe exhaustion, stress-related complications, and signs of emotional trauma. Fans flooded timelines with messages of support, using hashtags like #PrayForRemy and #StandWithRemy, while others turned their anger toward Papoose, calling him the biggest hypocrite in hip-hop. Because, let's be real, this wasn't just any breakup. This was a breakup that shattered a cultural symbol. For years, Papoose was praised for being the ultimate loyal husband, while so many rappers were accused of cheating, disrespecting women, or abandoning their families. Papoose was seen as different. He waited for Remy during her prison sentence, he raised their children, and he proudly bragged about being a family man. His whole brand was built on loyalty. So for him to suddenly flip the script and parade around with Claressa Shields, it wasn't just shocking, it was devastating. Fans felt betrayed. They weren't just invested in Remy and Papoose's love story. They were emotionally tied to it. They used it as proof that black love, real love, could survive anything. And now with one public appearance, Papoose had thrown all of that in the trash. But while fans were dragging him, Papoose seemed unbothered. In fact, he doubled down. Instead of denying the relationship with Claressa, he leaned into it. At another event, just days after the first sighting, Papoose openly held her hand and even kissed her on the cheek in front of flashing cameras. The message was clear. This wasn't a rumor, and it wasn't a mistake. He was choosing Claressa, period. And then came the bombshell. Papoose went live on Instagram. Sitting calmly with Claressa by his side, he addressed the backlash head-on. "Listen, y'all don't know what goes on behind closed doors," he began, his tone steady, almost cold. "I gave everything I had to my marriage. Years of loyalty, years of sacrifice, years of standing tall when the world was against us. But at some point, a man gotta know his worth too. I ain't about to keep fighting for somebody who don't appreciate me." Those words cut like knives. Fans couldn't believe it. Was Papoose really accusing Remy of not appreciating him? Was this his justification for walking out? Claressa, sitting silently beside him, nodded occasionally, her presence speaking louder than words. The optics were brutal, while Remy lay in a hospital bed. Papoose was live streaming his truth with his new partner front and center. Almost immediately, the internet exploded. Team Remy fans accused Papoose of gaslighting her, rewriting history to make himself look like the victim. They pointed out that he had always been celebrated, always praised, always uplifted because of his devotion. How could he claim he was underappreciated? Others argued that maybe there was more to the story, that perhaps behind closed doors, Remy and Papoose's relationship wasn't as perfect as it seemed. And then there was Claressa. The undefeated boxing champion was suddenly the most talked about woman in hip-hop gossip, even though she wasn't from the music world at all. Some fans accused her of being a homewrecker, someone who inserted herself into a marriage and destroyed it. Others defended her, saying she owed nothing to Remy and had every right to pursue happiness with Papoose if the marriage was already broken. But Claressa's own actions fueled the fire. Shortly after Papoose's live stream, she posted a cryptic message on Twitter. "A real man deserves a real woman. No games, no drama, just love and loyalty." Fans immediately interpreted it as a shot at Remy, accusing her of kicking a woman while she was already down. The backlash was swift, with thousands of angry comments flooding Claressa's mentions, calling her insensitive and heartless. But Claressa didn't delete the tweet. She doubled down, liking comments from fans who supported her relationship with Papoose. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, Remy was reportedly devastated by the live stream. Sources close to her said she broke down in tears after seeing Papoose publicly dismiss their marriage as if it had meant nothing. For a woman who had always prided herself on strength, the public humiliation was unbearable. Nurses allegedly had to calm her down after a panic attack triggered by the social media coverage. And let's not forget the industry reactions. Fellow rappers, entertainers, and influencers were quick to weigh in. Cardi B posted a cryptic message about snakes pretending to be loyal, which fans quickly linked to Papoose. Fat Joe, who has always been like family to Remy, reportedly reached out privately to support her but refused to comment publicly. Other industry voices, however, weren't as quiet. One Love and hip-hop cast member blasted Papoose on Instagram, calling him a fraud and accusing him of throwing away years of loyalty for clout. But here's where things get even messier. Some insiders claim that Papoose's livestream wasn't just about defending himself, it was also about setting the stage for something bigger. Rumors are now swirling that Papoose and Claressa are planning a reality TV project together, a show that would showcase their relationship and capitalize on all the drama. If that's true, it would explain why he's suddenly so bold about going public. This isn't just love. It's business. And if that rumor is true, it's a cruel twist of fate for Remy. The same reality TV space that once celebrated her and Papoose's love story might now become the stage for her humiliation. Imagine watching the man who once held you down through prison now starring in a series with the woman he left you for. It's the kind of betrayal that cuts deeper than any diss track. Fans are divided. But one thing is certain, Remy's health is now the #1 concern. Doctors have reportedly advised her to take time away from the spotlight, focus on recovery, and avoid the stress of public scrutiny. But how can she avoid it when every blog, every gossip page, and every social media feed is filled with her name, her pain, and her husband's new relationship? The world is watching, and Remy is trapped in a nightmare where her personal heartbreak is the internet's entertainment. And while Papoose seems ready to move forward with Claressa, the bigger question looms, will Remy ever be able to come back from this? Because let's be honest, this isn't just about losing a husband. This is about losing her image, her sense of stability, and the love story that defined her public identity for years. And as she lays in that hospital bed with fans begging for updates and critics circling like vultures, Remy is facing the fight of her life. Not against an enemy on the streets, not against a rival in hip-hop, but against heartbreak itself. The hospital lights may have dimmed around Remy Ma's bed, but outside those walls, the storm was only getting stronger. What began as a shocking betrayal had now evolved into one of the biggest cultural conversations of the year. Everyone from casual fans to major celebrities had something to say about the implosion of Remy and Papoose's marriage, and the public debut of Papoose's new relationship with Claressa Shields. But as the noise grew louder, so did the pressure. Because here's the truth, betrayal may knock someone down. But in the hip-hop world, comebacks are always possible. The question now is whether Remy Ma has the strength to rise from this heartbreak and whether Papoose and Claressa can survive the firestorm of backlash that seems to grow hotter with each passing day. Inside the hospital, Remy was reportedly torn between two emotions, devastation and determination. Yes, she was broken by what Papoose had done. Yes, the images of him standing proudly next to Claressa haunted her every time she closed her eyes. But if there's one thing everyone knows about Remy, it's that she doesn't stay down for long. This is the same woman who came back from a prison sentence to reclaim her spot in hip-hop, who silenced critics with hit records and legendary freestyles, and who fought tooth and nail for her career when the industry counted her out. If anyone could turn pain into power, it was her. Reports say she began scribbling in notebooks even while recovering in the hospital, jotting down raw emotions and lyrics that could very well become her most personal music yet. Friends close to her claim she vowed not to let this betrayal define her, but instead to use it as fuel for her next chapter. And fans are already buzzing with excitement at the possibility of Remy dropping a scathing track aimed at Papoose and Claressa. Something that would not only tell her side of the story, but reclaim her voice in a situation where she has been portrayed as the victim. Meanwhile, Papoose and Claressa's honeymoon phase was starting to show cracks. Sure, the first wave of attention boosted their profiles. They were photographed at events, they trended online, and they commanded the spotlight. But fame cuts both ways. The same cameras that celebrated their debut now followed their every move, dissecting every glance, every gesture, every post, and fans weren't letting up. Every time Papoose posted a picture with Claressa, the comments were flooded with insults, accusations, and reminders of Remy's hospitalization. How can you smile when the woman who held you down is in a hospital bed? One fan wrote, "This ain't love, this is clout." Another added, Claressa, known for her toughness inside the ring, suddenly found herself in a different kind of fight, one against an entire fan base that refused to accept her relationship. Industry insiders began whispering that Papoose may have miscalculated. By going public so fast, by choosing to live stream his side of the story, he had painted himself into a corner. Instead of being seen as a man chasing happiness, he was viewed as a villain, a man who discarded his wife in her most vulnerable moment. And that villain narrative was starting to stick. But here's the twist. Some say that Papoose doesn't care, that after years of being branded as Remy's husband, he's finally embracing the chance to step out on his own terms. With Claressa by his side, he's no longer just the supportive partner. He's building his own brand. Rumors of a reality show continue to circulate, and while nothing has been officially confirmed, NDUSTRY insiders insist that meetings have already taken place. If true, Papoose and Claressa could be attempting to flip public outrage into ratings, turning one of hip-hop's most painful betrayals into entertainment for millions. But what happens if that plan backfires? Reality TV thrives on drama. Yes, but it also thrives on sympathy. And right now, all the sympathy belongs to Remy. Viewers may tune in out of curiosity. But will they embrace Papoose and Claressa as a couple? Or will they tune in just to drag them further? The risk is high, and the backlash could be permanent. On the other side, Remy's support network was mobilizing. Fat Joe, long considered her brother in the game, was reportedly working behind the scenes to rally support for her comeback. Cardi B, who has always shown Remy love, is rumored to be open to collaborating with her on a track addressing betrayal and resilience. And fans, while heartbroken for her, were also eager to see her rise again. Social media hashtags shifted from #PrayForRemy to #RemyStrong. With supporters declaring that she would come back harder than ever, the cultural conversation grew even deeper. Think pieces began circulating online, questioning why society always places the burden of resilience on women. Why was Remy expected to rise from the ashes while Papoose was free to parade around with a new partner without consequence? Feminist voices called out the double standard, pointing out that when men cheat or betray, they're often excused as seeking happiness, while women are labeled bitter if they speak their pain. Remy's situation became bigger than just gossip. It became a debate about loyalty, gender roles, and respect in relationships. Meanwhile, Claressa Shields found herself in the middle of a storm she couldn't fight with her fists. Known as the GWOAT in boxing, the greatest woman of all time, she had built her reputation on strength, discipline, and victory. But now her name was being dragged across gossip blogs, memes, and comment sections. Some boxing fans worried that the scandal could overshadow her legacy, reducing her accomplishments to nothing more than the woman Papoose left Remy. For an athlete who prided herself on respect, that was a bitter pill to swallow. And yet, through it all, Claressa seemed unbothered. She continued training, posting workout videos, and even hinted at dedicating her next fight to new beginnings. Was it confidence, or was it defiance? Either way, her silence on the deeper accusations only fueled the speculation as the story continued to unfold. One thing became undeniable. This scandal wasn't going away anytime soon. Too many emotions, too many fans, too many reputations were involved. For Remy, the path forward was clear but difficult. She could retreat into privacy, heal quietly, and let the story fade over time. Or she could step into the spotlight, tell her side of the story, and reclaim her narrative. Given everything we know about Remy Ma, the latter seems far more likely. And when that moment comes, when Remy drops her first statement, her first verse, or her first public appearance after this heartbreak, the world will be watching. Will she forgive? Will she fight back? Or will she reinvent herself entirely? The answer could define not only her personal legacy, but also the cultural memory of one of hip-hop's most shocking betrayals. As for Papoose and Claressa's future is equally uncertain. They may ride the wave of scandal into temporary fame, but can they build a lasting relationship when it started in chaos and controversy? Or will the weight of public opinion, fan backlash, and industry cold shoulders eventually tear them apart? History has shown us that relationships born in the middle of betrayal rarely stand the test of time. So here we are, a love story once hailed as legendary, reduced to hospital visits, live stream confessions, and social media wars. Remy Ma, the fighter, the survivor, the icon, lies at the center of it all, bruised but not broken. Papoose, once celebrated as the definition of loyalty, now wears the mask of betrayal. And Claressa Shields, the champion in the ring, has found herself in the fight of her life outside of it. This isn't just gossip. This isn't just a celebrity drama. This is a cautionary tale about love, loyalty, and the dangers of building your happiness on someone else's pain. The world may laugh, mock, and speculate, but beneath it all, 3 lives have been forever changed. And as the cameras keep flashing and the blogs keep posting, one truth remains: this story is far from over. Remy Ma's next move could shake the culture all over again. And when she decides to rise, and make no mistake, she will rise, the same world that watched her fall will be forced to watch her reclaim her crown. Family, this story is shaking the entire culture, and we want to hear your voice on it. Do you think Papoose was justified in moving on? Or did he betray everything he stood for by walking out on Remy Ma when she needed him the most? And what about Claressa Shields? Is she really the homewrecker people are calling her? Or just a woman caught in the middle of a love story gone wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. We're reading every single one of them. If you've been following this roller coaster, make sure you smash that like button so more people can join the conversation. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell so you never miss the next update. Because trust me, drama is just getting started. We'll be covering every twist, every clapback, and every emotional moment as it unfolds. Show your support for Remy by sharing this video. And let's keep this dialogue alive. This isn't just about celebrity gossip, it's about loyalty, love, and survival.